The restaurant was full that evening, clinking cutlery, soft jazz humming through the speakers, and the aroma of garlic butter and roasted chicken in the air. People laughed, wine glasses glimmered under the golden light, and amid all of it, Emma was rushing from table to table with a tired smile that never wavered, even though her feet ached and her heart felt heavier than the trays she carried. She balanced a tray of plates, her hands trembling just slightly, as she made her way toward table 7, a family of 4 with 2 small children. She smiled at them, setting down their dishes one by one. "Here you go. The mac and cheese for the little one, right?" she asked kindly. The little boy nodded with excitement, his messy curls bouncing. "Thank you," he said brightly, before digging in. Emma smiled. "You're welcome, sweetheart." She had always loved kids. Maybe because she couldn't have one of her own. Maybe because children never looked at her the way adults sometimes did, with judgment, impatience, or the kind of indifference that comes from people who think kindness is a luxury. But that night, something was off. Her manager, Mr. Reynolds, stood near the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, his eyes sharp and narrow like a hawk watching prey. He'd been hovering around her all evening, whispering to other staff, checking her orders twice. Emma tried to ignore it, tried to keep her focus on her work. She needed this job. It was the only thing standing between her and eviction. Then it happened. She came out of the kitchen carrying a tray of drinks, a tall glass of cola, 2 lemonades, and 1 wine. She had done this 1,000 times before. But as she took a step toward table 5, someone bumped into her, one of the new busboys, rushing out with a stack of plates. The tray wobbled. The glasses clinked. And before she could steady them, crash. The drink spilled across the floor. The wine splattered over a man's crisp white shirt. The restaurant went silent for a moment as the man jumped up, cursing. "What the hell?" he shouted, glaring at Emma. "Do you people even know how to do your job?" Emma froze, her face pale. I'm so sorry, sir. It was an accident, someone." "Don't you dare make excuses," the man barked, dabbing at his shirt furiously with a napkin. His wife sighed, shaking her head in irritation. Mr. Reynolds strode forward, his voice cutting through the tension. "Emma. My office. Now." Her stomach dropped. She nodded quickly, picking up the broken pieces of glass with trembling hands before following him inside. The office door shut behind them. Mr. Reynolds didn't waste a second. "This is the 3rd complaint this month, Emma." She blinked. "Sir, the others weren't." "I don't care," he interrupted. "You've been warned enough times. You're sloppy, slow, and you can't keep up anymore. Maybe this job is too much for you." Her chest tightened. "Please, Mr. Reynolds, You're done," he said coldly. "You can finish this shift, but after that, you're fired." Her world blurred. Fired. Again. Tears welled in her eyes, but she held them back. She couldn't afford to cry, not here, not in front of him. She nodded weakly. "Yes, sir." She left the office quietly, her mind spinning. She had 2 weeks' rent due, her mother's medication to pay for, and barely enough savings to last her a week. Still, she put her apron back on. She finished the shift. She smiled for the customers, refilled water glasses, and thanked people as they left. And then, as she walked toward the door to leave, Mr. Reynolds called out loudly. "Emma," he said. "You can go now. You don't work here anymore." The restaurant fell silent again. Emma stopped. Her hands froze on the strap of her bag. Every eye turned toward her. "Wait, you're firing her," one of the waiters whispered. Mr. Reynolds nodded firmly. "Yes. And in case anyone's wondering, this is what happens when you can't handle responsibility." Emma's face flushed red. Her throat burned as she tried to hold back tears. Humiliation washed over her like cold rain. And then, a small voice broke through the silence. "Why are you yelling at her?" It was the little boy from table 7. He stood on his chair, clutching his napkin in his tiny fist. Everyone turned. "Why are you yelling at the nice lady?" he said louder this time. "She didn't do anything bad." His mother tried to pull him down gently. "Ethan, sit down, honey." But he shook his head. "No, Mommy. She was nice. She gave me extra cheese and said my drawing was good." Mr. Reynolds looked uncomfortable. "Son, this is a grown-up matter. Please sit down." But the boy didn't. His eyes filled with tears. "You're being mean. You're making her cry." And indeed, a tear had slipped down Emma's cheek. She quickly wiped it away, but it was too late. The boy had seen it. "She didn't even do anything wrong," Ethan continued, his voice shaking. "It wasn't her fault the drink fell. I saw it, that man bumped into her." All eyes turned toward the busboy, who froze in place, face red. Mr. Reynolds blinked, taken aback. "What did you say?" The busboy hesitated. I might have bumped her a little. But I didn't think." The boy's father, the same man whose shirt had been ruined, looked suddenly uncomfortable. "Wait, what? So she didn't?" "She didn't do it," the boy said again. "She was nice to everyone. Why are you making her lose her job?" The room was utterly silent. Only the sound of the boy's shaky breathing filled the air. Emma stood frozen, her heart pounding. The little boy's mother looked at Mr. Reynolds and said softly, "He's right, you know. She's been nothing but kind to us tonight." The man nodded reluctantly. "Yeah. I overreacted. I'm sorry." Mr. Reynolds swallowed hard. His expression shifted from authority to shame. The entire restaurant was watching him, his staff, his customers, and even that small boy whose honesty had cracked open something raw in the air. He looked at Emma, really looked at her this time. Her tired eyes. Her hands worn from endless shifts. The way she stood, quiet, still trying not to cause trouble even when she was the one wronged. And then, for the first time, his voice softened. "Emma. I'm sorry." She blinked, confused. "Sir? I shouldn't have handled it that way," he said quietly. "You didn't deserve that. Especially not in front of everyone." He turned toward the boy. "Thank you, young man. You're right. I was being unfair." The boy sniffled but smiled a little, wiping his nose with his sleeve. "It's okay. My mommy says when people are tired, they forget to be nice." The whole room chuckled softly, breaking the heavy tension. Mr. Reynolds looked down for a moment, visibly emotional now. "Out of the mouths of children," he murmured. Then, looking back at Emma, he said, "You still have your job. If you'll accept my apology." Emma stood there, stunned. Yes. Thank you." Her voice trembled, and for the first time that night, she smiled genuinely, the kind that came from somewhere deep, somewhere grateful. The little boy waved at her. "See? You're not fired." She laughed through her tears. "No, I'm not. Thanks to you." The rest of the evening passed quietly. The customers clapped softly, a few of them smiling at Emma as she returned to work. And when the boy's family left, he ran up to her, handing her a little drawing he'd made, a stick figure waitress with a big smile and a heart next to her. "That's you," he said proudly. "You're nice." Emma knelt down and hugged him gently. "Thank you, sweetheart. You're a very brave boy." When they left, Mr. Reynolds called her aside again. But this time, his tone wasn't harsh. "Emma," he said, "I didn't know about your situation until today. I spoke to the staff, they told me you've been covering extra shifts because of your mother's hospital bills." Emma hesitated, embarrassed. "I didn't want to make it anyone's problem." He sighed. "You've been doing more than your share. I'm giving you a raise. And a few paid days off. You deserve it." Her lips parted in shock. I don't know what to say." Safe